Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Celtic Done. A Celtic World, the tactical review. Nearly slipped up there. Gavin, we on to me. We are covering Hibernian 1, Celtic 2, all the action from Easter Roads, which took place exactly 24 hours ago, Paul. Kickoff time.
It did.
So we had a lovely 8 p.m. kickoff. It was a bit of a rare treat for us in the Southern Hemisphere in Perth, WA. So that was nice, and we'll get into the game in just a second as people start to join us live. Please get live and involved in the comments. I do apologise. There was a few technical hiccups last week, but I hope I've sorted them all out this week. Otherwise, I'll be getting sacked. But I think I can see the live viewers slowly ticking up, so I think I've done something right. Before we get into the game, Paul, how was your weekend? We actually caught up on the weekend. We had a bit of a charity quiz night, but I'll let you have a chat about that.
Yeah, we did. Good to catch up with a few others as well. Decent Celtic contingent. But yeah, we were at the Purple Hearts charity quiz. Cancer charities, predominantly women's cancer charities, obviously close to my heart, given what's happened to my wife in the past. But yeah, good turnout, fantastically organised quiz, reasonably mediocre performance from us. But I would say that was a mixture of probably beers consumed and maybe a slight level of politeness on certain people's behalf.
I would say we're a bit more a Brendan Rodgers Celtic rather than a Martin O'Neill Celtic as far as the quiz was concerned, and that's probably still being generous. But yes, carry on.
Well, I said to my wife the next day, because anyone that knows me even a little bit knows that, one, I love a quiz, two, I am extremely competitive on stuff that doesn't really matter, like quizzes. Less so at stuff that's genuinely important. But yeah, very competitive at the stupid stuff. And I said to my wife on Sunday morning, said, you're not impressed by my my quiz performance last night? And she went, pretty much the same as everybody else. I was like, well, yeah, quite. I was on my best behavior. I didn't demand any answers, go down, have a borderline rock with anyone. I was remarkably normal. And she went, oh, you are? Well done. What happened? I didn't even realize because you were so normal. I was like, well, maybe at mid to late 40s, I finally done some growing up and decided that me being right isn't necessarily the most important thing at any given point. So
yes, Paul, the US-Canada border is the largest border of two nations in the world. There's a quiz question for you. The rest of the table thought it was Russia and China, so there's one for you. And sublimation is the process of a solid turning into a gas, which I couldn't remember on the nights I'd had too many beers. But that will stick with me for the rest of my life now. It was a great night. It was obviously a lot of money raised for charity. I also haven't found out how much money was raised, but it was a very, very busy, well-organized event. So it was good to be a part of that. And the stories that were told were very touching as well. So any sort of funds that go towards research to eliminate breast cancer and all sorts of gynecological cancers would be, it's a great cause. So fantastic. So that was Saturday, and then that sort of rolled us into Sunday with the game. So I'll just bring a couple of comments, Paul, just before we get sort of started. Lubo Mac, that's a name and a half. Lubo McNamura. I might stuff that up between now and the rest of the night. Hail, boys. Don't usually manage to catch you live. This is a wee treat. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and feel free to get involved in the comments section as we go through. And then we've got Mark Duffy here saying, hey guys, is it just me or Yang should have won a penalty for getting the header before the header defended him? We will touch on that. That's definitely a talking point later in the show. So yeah, hang in there and we'll get your thoughts on, we'll give us our thoughts on that one. And then are you guys wanting Nonsi now? Stick with Martin O'Neill. Poor Martin, like he keeps getting asked the same questions every single before a game, after a game. He kind of let it slip on Thursday night that, Nonsi's inbound. The weekend's probably my last game. Yeah. And now, in typical Celtic fashion, he's been told that your services are still required. I guess the only potential upside to that is a home send-off, potentially. Obviously, assuming he's going to be in charge for the midweek derby against Dundee. Dundee or Dundee United? I didn't quite.
Dundee.
So that's definitely the upside there. But again, Celtic, as per usual, nothing's ever straightforward or easy because all the mood music was meant to happen today with Nancy coming in. But I guess from my point of view personally, Simon, is that I want a permanent manager in before the next window opens because I want the new manager to have a quick look at what we've got. I mean, obviously blind Freddie to see what we haven't got, a right winger, and then start the recruitment process in January, knowing full well that Celtic are usually terrible in January, well, in transfer windows in general, but at least have a crack at it and try and get some reinforcements in to see us through the rest of the season, and then obviously start adding his sort of tactical flair towards the games as they start coming in. But regardless of what we think of the boards, we definitely have to get behind the manager when he does finally get presented, and then Martin can obviously chuff back off on cloud nine. I think he's done an absolutely remarkable job. I'd love to see the statistics on interim managers because I think he's, regardless of what happens on Wednesday, I think he's probably had one of the most successful stints as an interim manager I've ever seen. So it's a testament to him as a man manager. And you've got to appreciate that he did get a good team together, and Maloney, and then you're Fotheringham, and the big unit. Where his name is, I can't remember his name.
Fotheringham.
Oh, it's Fotheringham. Yeah, okay, I was right. I've done it myself. There's a lot to like there. So I appreciate the comment, but I think we've got to say goodbye to Martin again at some point. And then if you call the team the Huns. Well, funny enough, John, there was they played Tina Turner's Simply the Best because in Australia that was used as a marketing campaign for the National Rugby League, so the NRL, back in the early 90s. So you just see me, Paul, and Dave all just shooting daggers at one another. That's not probably the last time we'll talk about the quiz night tonight, but it was a good night, and plenty of beer and whatnot was consumed. Anyway, Paul, we played Hibs on the weekend. Regardless of bad roll, finally get there. That's the team sheet from the weekend. The only change I could figure was Strachey came in for the place of Kieran Tierney, and the rest of the team was an unchanged lineup. I believe I'm correct with that. I think the BBC confirmed so I said that as well. But how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, from the trip to Rotterdam, I think the bench changed a wee bit. The starting lineup was just the left back swap, and I think made sense. Sarachi sat a few games out. Tierney's had to do more than his fair share, and obviously Scales has been filling in at left back when Tierney's needed a rest as well. So it made sense to get Sarachi some minutes and rest Kieran Tierney. There's some obviously big games coming up. Other than that, the team that did probably the performance of the season against Feyenoord. I know they've got a bit of problems, but they're still a good side, good squad, decent manager. A fantastic result, particularly going behind. Showed real resilience and some quality. Not a massive surprise to see the majority of that team start. And the only, obviously, and we'll probably touch on this shortly, but our record at Easter Road is pretty horrendous down the years in recent years.
I'll just give you a stat there, Paul. One in 9.
Particularly after European away games.
1 win in 9. And going back to 2004. Games played at Easter Road after we played in Europe, and that's quite a stat. I think we only drew 4 of them, and we lost the other. Oh, sorry, we lost the other 4 or 5. So it's quite a stat.
Yeah. So I wasn't. You're roughly aware that we don't do that well at Easter Road generally in recent years, and more so after European matches, we struggle. I didn't know that stat, but it doesn't. It's quite surprising. It's quite as bad as that, but you kind of know it's a tough place to go. So I think obviously Hibs have been on a good run. They had a wobble, I think, in their last match, so maybe a good time to get them, or as good a time to get them after a European match as you're likely to get. But yeah, you're pleased with the team. You know they're going to be on a high from the midweek result. You're just hoping there's enough energy in the tank to get through it, and I guess there was just about in the end, like a good strong first half performance, and then a resilient, if painful in the eyes, second half performance. Job done. You know, if you're offered 2-1 before we started, you'd bite their hand off for that. So yeah, decent lineup, and yeah, good start.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I think that's probably the first 10 minutes. I think we were probably a wee bit just getting into the game. I thought Hibs probably did start the better of the two teams. Probably took us 10 minutes to get going. And then, yeah, this was the first real chance on 11 minutes. So this was so Stales puts the tackle in, balls it to McCowan, and Yang, unfortunately, runs offside. So it was a cut back to Maeda. And, yeah, like I said, Yang just didn't watch the line on that one, unfortunately, but that sort of gave you the bit of hope there. That
I'm gonna let Yang off the hook here. I think he's making the run he should make. McCowan takes an extra touch he doesn't need to make. Like he shifts it out of his feet, and then the time he takes to take the touch, make it in the perfect angle for the pass.
Yeah,
obviously both Yang and, like, if he chosen to go Maeda was off as well. So I think McCowan just needs to be a little bit smarter and more match aware there, and see where he knows his guys are on the run. He just needs to wrap his foot around that and push it through first time. And then, you know, they're probably solidly onside at that point. And yeah, it's nicely finished off, but you kind of knew as soon as it was passed, he'd sort of delayed it too long, and yeah, you were going to get the flag.
Yeah, it's like I said, I totally take your point there, and that's fair. I think the best part of this was the Liam Stales challenge. You sort of read it really, really well, and that's sort of what led to the chance. But for me, it was just a sign that Hibs were playing a very high line, and I just thought with Maeda and Yang, you're thinking we're going to get opportunities, that we are going to get chances. It's just whether we can stay on side and take them. And in saying that, this was probably the chance of the game, really. These stills aren't coming through very big guys. I need to quickly do a little reformat thing in a second, but basically, this was literally the minute after we had the offside goal. They basically went straight out the park, and it was very simple from their point of view. It was a ball out to our left wing, and then the ball came across, and Martin Boyle, as per usual, falling all over the place looking for, I don't know, a foul or whatever, but all he has to do is get his left foot on it and stick in the back of the net. I don't really know what he's trying to do, but yeah, that one was just crying out for a finish, and that would have made it interesting. 1-0 Easter Road, 12 minutes into the game, but thankfully
he sort of nips in, he gets in ahead of Sirachi. I think Sirachi's sort of ball watching a wee bit. And I think in his attempt to get in front of him, he sort of lost his balance. And then after that, I guess he's looking to kind of engineer a contact, which isn't there. So yeah, bit of a let off. He should have tucked it away, I would say. Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly do something with the images, Paul. So I might just play a wee quick video. Let's just finish downloading. These are from Rotterdam. The opposition from
Hey Bempot, show these guys some love, would ya? AW finger tap or mouse click like this. Cheers, pal.
Yes. So Paul, that was that chance there, and then basically I think the next chance is actually the goal, but there was one more I didn't see on some of the highlights reels, but it was the ball that was played across over the top for Maeda. So that one, I don't have a timestamp for that, but that was, let me just see if I've got it here. All right. Okay, I'm trying to just make these a little bit bigger, so apologies, people. This is just a little bit of production that should have happened before we came on air, but I'm doing my best I can.
While you're doing that, I'll
Yes.
sort of mention another incident that was early-ish in the game, which
Yes.
didn't appear on most of the highlights actually, but I think was worthy of comment, which was the Colby Donovan yellow card. Now I said it on the group chat. I think he was a little bit lucky. On another day, VAR might have had an extra look at that. He flies in to a tackle he doesn't really need to make, and he's definitely more than careless. I think it's whether you think he's reckless or dangerous, and you'd say he's definitely reckless. Is he dangerous? I think it's debatable. But I think I like Colby Donovan. I think he's, for the most part, other than the Hearts game where he got ripped apart, I think he's done well and he shows sort of good prospect. And I think we should be trying to bring him through as the understudy to Alistair Johnson. So yeah, I'm keen for him to sort of progress, but he definitely needs to kind of curb that kind of rash flying into challenges, because if VAR takes another look at that and decides that's a red, 15 minutes, Easter Road, down to 10 men on the back of a big, massive, energy sapping performance 3 days earlier, we're in real trouble there. So yeah, I think we talked on. I was talking to another group chat and the orange card reference, which I don't love, but it kind of fits in certain scenarios. Yeah. I think you could say it was definitely in that bracket. And yeah, I think his main sort of case is maybe that he's on hit the foot as opposed to the ankle or higher up the leg. But studs are showing he's not in control. He's off the ground. I've seen lesser challenges be red carded for it. So yeah, I was a bit worried when he flew into it at first view. Second view didn't make it look too much better. But luckily Nick Walsh was really close to it and made a strong decision that it was a yellow early. And at that point, it then takes quite a lot for VAR to overturn it. So, and go up a level. So yeah, I just a kind of note of caution. I imagine the management team were having words with him. And will continue to do so on the training ground and stuff. And just, he probably didn't need to fly in there. Like, it's halfway down, halfway in our half, right on the touchline. Like, there's no immediate danger. He's got teammates back. So yeah, just one to.
Well, I think he got taken off at half time. So he got a sore one as well. So hey, it was like a bit of payback.
I think there was. Yeah, he got it right before half time. I think he got kind of
apparently he took a sore one in Rotterdam as well. So he's had a couple of challenges. So probably that. And I 2-0 up, you're thinking, all right, we had a good time to introduce Anthony Ralston, but he's still seems a bit spooked at the moment. Ralston, but we'll get to that. Game. No, let's bring up some comments. Maybe we should have Martin in charge of the first half and Nancy in charge of the second half of the handover. Yeah, I mean, that could work. You never know. Two minds are better than one. And then, my difference not about the handover. I mean, I think it's every likelihood that Sean Maloney will probably form part of that backroom team. That seems to be the mid music. I wouldn't like to think that that's the barrier that's stopping all this from happening. I don't think we've got an Eddie Howe situation this time. I wouldn't, nothing's ever out of the realms of possibility, but I think this one's, it's just a dot in the I's and crossing the T's type situation, I hope. And the fact that you're dealing with people coming from America. So I think there could be just the visa situation and all that sort of stuff as well, because that can sometimes take a wee bit longer now that the UK is no longer part of the EU and likes to do everything by themselves.
I think, I tend to agree. I think it's a done deal. The way it's been sort of framed by everyone, it seems like it's pretty much a done deal. I agree with you. I think he'll probably be on ground, maybe even in the ground on Wednesday. But obviously, with no time on the training ground, why would he take charge? That would just be daft. So I think it's probably as simple as that. Timing. There is the whole 1st of December. His compensation, I think, drops in half or even 2/3. So he was never going to sign anything until that point. So and he's in a different country, and we've got to finalize things with the rest of his backroom staff. So I think he'll be in the country any day. If he's not in the ground on Wednesday night, I think he will be certainly close by, and then maybe he's announced on Thursday. But you'd think he would be. You'd want him in and around the playing group, training ground, at least more than a day or two ahead of the Hearts game, given that would potentially be his first match. So, look, don't get me wrong. I get the romance of the clamour for O'Neill to be around for longer, final, etc. But I agree with you. If we're hiring a permanent manager, we've identified the permanent manager. Get the permanent manager in the door. Get him looking at players. Get us ready. Look, it's hugely romantic and nostalgic to want Martin O'Neill to be able to sign off with a cup final win. But one of our major complaints as fans is that this club isn't modern thinking. And you can hardly say we're not modern thinking on one hand and go, oh, let's just keep the interim manager around for a romantic finish to his second tenure. They don't. I get it, but they don't basically sit together as far as I'm concerned. So O'Neill's done a phenomenal job. Rather than the concerns of potentially tarnishing his legacy, he's enhanced it, if that was even possible. And I think, as he said in his interview after the match, he didn't name Nancy, but he said if the new manager, he's answered various questions about.
He confirmed it was Nancy, though. He did I
think that was earlier in the week, but he slipped. But this time, he just said the next manager. He was asked, would you want to be director of football or be used as a, kind of sounding board? And he said, well, really, that's not up to me. It's up to the next manager. And I never wanted anything forced on me when I was coming into clubs. So the same would stand for any manager coming in behind him. So I'd be very surprised if Nancy doesn't lean into him a bit in terms of what he's learned over the last 4 or 5, 6 weeks. And I agree with you. I think Maloney will end up being the sort of conjoiner to from one sort of group of coaches to the next. And let's be honest, Maloney will have been doing most of the on ground, on training pitch sort of drills and the playing group and all that sort of stuff. That'd be Maloney and Fotherham, I would say, would have been leading that. Because Martin O'Neill was never a training ground manager, even back in the day when he was at his peak. So, I think it makes a lot of sense to, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to be some discussion and to have one of the existing group of coaches involved. But we'll see. It'll all happen in due course. But if he's who we have identified, get him in as quickly as we can and get him working with this group of players and let's see what he's got.
No, I said that this goal was we should really be thanking Pep Guardiola for this goal because he's got players, goalkeepers all around the world try to play out from the back when maybe they're just not quite up to it. But Rafael Salinger's going to look at this highlight reel back and back and back, and this will go in his lowlights reel because, even at this point, he's receiving the ball, and I mean, he's got space. Armada's obviously, shutting him down. But he decides to play the pass into the midfielder here. Hatati's up the guy's arse. I'll just see, see what images we've got. Bear with me just a second. Here we go. And we've got heaps of it. All right, he's just stepped a few frames there, but so manages to intercept, and then Hatati does the easy thing, strays it to Maeda, easiest goal he'll ever score, and the keeper's looking a bit. He's looking a bit silly.
Let's see. Picture. Let's see. He is. This is just some of the worst decision making you'll see by a goalkeeper with the ball at his feet. Like the simple pass is just to shuffle it on to his mate to the left of him, and so I was watching a Celtic TV. Simon Donnelly made the point is if the receiving player has got his back completely to the rest of play, he's got he's got a rough idea that there's a player near him, but he can't see anything. His body's not open to go anywhere else. At best, the only place he's going to go is backwards again, which is going to cause more problems. He can either go back to Bashiri if he gets it in front, or he can go back to the goalie who's being closed down. He's not on the half turn. His body's not open. He can't see what he's dealing with behind him. It's just that, like, it's about as bad a decision as you'll see from a goalkeeper with the ball at his feet. If he doesn't want to shuffle it off to his mate next to him, get your bloody boot through it and horse it up the pitch. And it was interesting, and we're going to take another little tangent here, but when a few times during the match, both first half and second half, when we came under a fair amount of pressure, it was clear that Kasper Schmeichel had been given instruction or the freedom to go long if he needed to, just to take some pressure off. Because, look, I don't want to see balls pumped long on a constant basis. Nobody wants to watch football like that. We want to see the ball on the deck and played out. But we've seen it with numerous teams over the last few years. This requirement to play out in every situation, regardless of circumstance, it's borderline lunacy. Because unless you've got a team of absolute ballers, at some point limitations will mean players aren't capable of either making the right pass, dealing with the ball under pressure and not coughing it up, or even just simple decision making like we've got here with the keeper. So yeah, like there's got to be an element of common sense, and every so often the keeper is going to have to probably put his laces through it. And even if that's not contested, it gives you time to get your shape back and deal with the next attack as they come back up the pitch. And even if you don't win the first ball up there, you're at least attempting to win the ball back much higher up the pitch and a lot further away from your own goal, which means there's no immediate danger in terms of the next wave of attack. So yeah, just really, really poor. Hatate does great, reads it. I did think, maybe there's a foul there. Is VAR going to get involved and give away you see so many cheap fouls, but the guy and a lot of them were losing their footing. He just slipped at a really inopportune moment, and Hatate nipped in. And yeah, we've got the Bashiri, and I don't know who's the other defender, but they're playing a wonderful example of the onside trap. And despite the goalkeeper being higher than both of them and trying to play offside, the two defenders have done a sterling job. Is this the next goal? Is this where we've got the next goal?
Yeah, because unfortunately,
it's way too late in the script.
I know, but we're missing all these great passes. So I made a note. So Schmeichel plays it out to Scales. He plays it into Hatate to Srirachi. Srirachi runs about 50 meters up the park. He slips in Yang, and then I'm assuming we've got some more images after this. And yeah, so Yang's just aiming to get this cross in now. And have we got Arnie Engels in frame? I think that's him. Just on
it is, yeah. He's breaking into the middle of the box, yeah.
And then he gets kicked in the face, but manages to score the goal. Great header, great run. Good balling by Yang, to be honest. Or jumped ahead again. All right. But yeah, so Paul, I mean, we're almost like the Arnie Engels fan club here. Like we would constantly advocate on his behalf. I kind of feel that, that was a pretty solid performance from him. That was a great goal. There was another that we'll come to it, but the chance that should have made it 3-0, it was actually an Arnie Engels quick fire pass into Cal McGregor, which actually unleashed McGregor and then ultimately found the ball out to Maid and then to Srirachi. But I just felt that he was he had a really, really good game. And
he was great in Rotterdam as well. Like he'd been definitely in the mix for man of the match, and I think he probably was the man of the match in Rotterdam. He was everywhere. He got through a power of defensive work. His distribution's great. But yeah, this is what I think a lot of fans have wanted to see. More intent, getting in the box. He's got the engine for this, and he's super brave here. But yeah, I think that's a point I wanted to make, so we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, this is great in that it's a great finish in terms of just getting his head on it and putting it in where he must know that there's going to be danger. But it all stems from the decision making at the outset. So Martin Boyle tries to squeeze Schmeichel, and he probably breaks the line too early. He basically presses on his own, and at that point, if we break that first press, they're in real trouble, even from our own box. And that's what happens. Basically, Schmeichel gets it, I think, to Scales. Boyle can't deal with it. He doesn't get there. And then Scales is able to flick it to Hatate, and then we're away. And once Hatate's on the turn and running, between those three passes, or those two passes, I think we take 4 Hibs players out of the play. And it's a shame we haven't got that still near the beginning of the move, because just that Boyle getting isolated and the pass coming through, and then other players deciding they've got to jump on the press, it ends up 4 of them are beyond the ball and Hatate's on the move, and now they're in real trouble. And we shift it really well from there. Yang does excellently. I noticed on the BBC Sport website he wasn't even getting an assist because it took a deflection off the nonsense. You know, he's put a ball in a dangerous area, and he's another one that deserves some praise. He had a great game in Rotterdam as well, and he took it on again. It's amazing what a little bit of confidence does for players. Like, you know, he looked like a man who didn't even know if he could get his boots on his right feet, never mind play football. He was nearly out the door in the summer, and a bit of a Martin O'Neill G up, and he's looking like a world beater. So yeah, no, great intent, gets it in the box, and then Engels, you know, puts his head in where it hurts, and he got absolutely collided. He got a full-on boot in the face. And the earlier point this is the first thing I said when the yellow card came out. I was like, I honestly have got no idea what the high feet rule is, because Yang at Tynecastle, his boot was higher, admittedly, a lot higher, but it sort of, if anything, it maybe skiffed the guy's nose. Like, there was no real contact whatsoever, and he got a straight. Well, was it a VAR? VAR decided it was a red.
Yeah,
this is a full-on boot to the face, and he's sort of diving a little bit, but his head's at a very high height. He's got no business chucking his foot at that. And it's a yellow, and there's no VAR review of it. And if we think back, while we're talking about VAR reviews, we think back only a few weeks, and it went on for about 3 weeks afterwards. It's only probably just settled, the dust settled on it. The other lot were screaming for Trusty to be red carded for a foot to the head, which sits somewhere. It was certainly on the deck, but it was, in terms of forces, nowhere near at this level. It was daft, and he probably, you know, another day he might have got red, but we can't be saying that was a definite red, or certain parts of the media and other fans saying that was a definite red, endangering a player. And Ernie Engels gets some absolute hoof in the face whilst making a header, and it's just a yellow. Like, I honestly, like, played the game for a long time, watched it even longer, and some of the rules at the minute, or interpretation rules, I'm completely lost. As a guy who's invested a lot of time in watching the game, talking about the game, reading the laws of the game, and I'm not sure why they're being applied, how they are, and how we're ending up at the decisions we're ending up at.
Well, yeah, I just think when you're Arnie Engels' height and you're at full stretch, so you're not ducking, so it's not like you're ducking into danger, but you're full stretch, and someone has got the foot high enough to kick you in the face. I say that probably warrants some, and obviously, there should be a force rule applied, but Engels was down with a blood nose for about fucking 5-10 minutes. So I say there was enough force there, but yeah, again, it's inconsistency, and that's what breeds contempt for referees and for the laws of the game, is when you get very varying applications of, oh, that's a red card, that's not a red card, that's a booking, that's not a booking. The Liam Stills handball, we'll get to that in a little bit. But again, you're sort of sitting there going, they'll probably give this because they were looking at every single angle to try and find an angle that justified sending Nick Walsh to the screen. And and then you've got Chris Sutton saying, he's been really hard done by there, because ultimately, you're only going for the ball. And I guess that would be the argument for Jamie McGrath's, I was just going for the ball. But when you're going for the ball in that sort of situation, you kind of know that there's probably only one outcome, that, all right, you might get your foot in the ball, but you're probably going to blue other guy in the face at the same time. This comment from John CL just sort of saying that probably Sean Maloney's probably did a bit of work with Yang, probably. And then also the fact that plenty of space suits him. We've probably got a few players on a team like that at the moment, John, where, when given the opportunity and the space, they look, very, very dangerous. But, like you say, when you've got teams that just sit in and compact the space, that's maybe we need something a wee bit different, a Jota or obviously not back yet, but you just need that little bit of extra quality to unlock that situation. Another interesting stat here from Midlothian P. First time we've won 4 games in a row in a year. There you go. Who knew? Alrighty, Paul. I've got some more images. Where we're at. This is the mischance. So by this point, McGregor's played the ball into Maeda. Maeda's winding up for the back heel. Srirachi's busted a lung to get into the box, and unfortunately, I don't know. He sort of, I think his shot selection here is off. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he sort of, obviously didn't quite get it right. It's smashed off the post. That says for their chance. But any thoughts on this one? I mean, this makes it 3-0. Like we just basically put the game to bed right then and there.
So it's right on half time, isn't it? I think it's probably even into injury time of half time.
43 minutes.
There you go. Close, but no cigar. But it's the move of the match. Brilliant passing, interplay, great running off the ball. And Srirachi does everything right until the shot. I think he's probably distracted a bit by the guy sliding in. His angle's starting to go. But I don't think there's any excuse here. At the very least, he's got to hit the target. He probably should score. And I think you're right. He takes the wrong side. I don't mind him going near post if he's definitely inside the near post, but he sort of slices it slightly, cuts across it at least, and that sort of pulls it onto the outside of the post. I think he's just got to lash his boot through it here and either go top corner this side, or the obvious place to hit it is a cross goal back across, and sort of the keeper is on the move one direction. He's got to go back across the other. He'll be disappointed. And just from a aesthetic point of view, it would have been an absolute amazing goal. Probably certainly goal of the month and up there with one of the goals of the season, I would say. If that had gone in, because it was a really good passing move. But unfortunately not to be. I guess the only thing is we go in at halftime 3-0 and it's done and dusted, right? They're not coming back from that. But 2-0 obviously left the door open, and obviously we know what happened next.
Yes. So halftime, we had Tony Ralston coming on for Colby Donovan, as we've mentioned earlier in the show. And I think the next sort of Hearts obviously expected Hibs, wrong Edinburgh team. Hibs came out with a bit of purpose in the second half, as you probably expected that they would. And this was probably again a very good chance for them. An actually excellent piece of defending from Liam Stiles here. I really was very impressed with this. These images don't really probably do it much justice, but the annoying thing here again is that the cross obviously is able to get in. I'm a big fan in cutting out crosses, but the cross comes in. But obviously this image is very blurry, but Still somehow manages to contort himself around and get the last touch on it to clear it away. It's not the best image, but covered himself in a lot of glory there. And that went out for the corner, which leads to this incident, which we'll spend more time talking about. So this was the handball that we've alluded to. So that's probably one of the images that VAR was looking at. I don't know if we had another one. No, that's the one we've got. Yeah, like I said, I've got a fair amount of sympathy. I'm sort of sitting there going, if that was on the other, if the shoe was on the other foot, and that's a Hibs defender like that, I'd be like, I don't think I'd be jumping up and down going, oh, that's definitely a penalty. Like if you got it, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, take it, great. But I don't know. The thing for me is that the two players in front of him, so that's. I think is it Engels and
it's Engels and Airedale.
Yeah, and Airedale. Yeah, they kind of like block his, affect his he's line of sight sort of thing. So that like he's had to react, and the ball's probably dipped a bit more than he was expecting, obviously. And he's a good header of the ball, Liam Stiles. So this one's just obviously caught him out. So I think he was obviously expecting a deflection from the two in front of him. And his arms come up, but you could argue that that's a natural position because what's he supposed to do? Like, I mean, like, do you run around with your arms tied behind your back? No, of course you don't. You think, and it's almost hit his shoulder. Like, I get like his arms up a bit, but like I'm just I have issues with it. I have issues with handball rule with every time one of these sort of contentious sort of decisions comes up. It's the same thing, but I feel he really as a card holding central defender. I'm running it back for Liam Stiles. I feel really sorry for him, and I've been done with one like this playing him back in the day, and it's just so frustrating because you just, like I say, you've just misjudged it. Like there's obviously no intent or malice or whatever, and your body's still in the way anyway. I mean, it just so happens that it brushes your arm, but yeah, for me, I have a hard time with this one. And the frustrating thing for me as well is that VAR, like they're all over it like a heartbeat. You just knew they were looking for a way to try and get Nick Walsh to the screen, but that's just me, my little tinfoil hat on. But Paul, any sort of anything you want to add to that one?
Unfortunately, as the rule stands today, I think it's a clear penalty. It hits him on this image isn't the best because it looks like it hits him on the upper arm and shoulder, but it hit him fully on the hand. There's a couple other angles that show it hits him on the hand. His hand then pings back. It's unfortunate. He's unfortunate because for me, the issue here is there's clearly a foul on Engels immediately before it. So early on, you can see it a little bit in this shot, but you saw it in plenty of other angles. A massive handful of Engels' shirt. Those two players are competing for the ball, and Scales expects one or the other of them to hit it. And therefore, it would never reach him at the point it does. But they both miss it. Engels probably because he's been fouled. But it seems VAR takes no look at what else is going on around it, only in isolation. That I think if one of those players had touched it and it hits his hand, he's probably off the hook.
Yeah,
which is odd because the only reason it hits him on the arm is because those two miss it, which is sort of counterintuitive, but that's what's happened. So he's expecting a touch. He's got himself in a weird position. They both miss it. It dips on him. And his arm isn't I would say his arm's in an unnatural position. Even if he's trying to head it, it's sort of up and then it doesn't even hit him on the high part. It drops really, unfortunately for him, and hits him right on the hand. So look, and I think Scales, I missed that part of the interview, but I did hear that he'd sort of said that. So as it stands, unfortunate, particularly when he defended the ball so well beforehand. But I think it's just one under the rules as they stand today. You're gonna have to take that on the chin and accept it. But feel a bit sorry for him. The one thing about it that is absolutely ludicrous was the fact he got booked for it. And I still fail to understand why Nick Walsh is making symbols, like almost like he was trying to elbow somebody, which I think there's nobody to elbow, especially not on that side. So I think he must have only been saying that it was sort of a deliberate movement up, but it clearly isn't. So I'm at a loss as to why he got yellow carded. That's particularly harsh, but unfortunately, as it stands, it was a penalty. And then Boyle tucks it away really nicely.
I thought Schmeichel would maybe dive, but no, he just stood there. He was obviously hoping for a Pineka or something like that, just straight at him. Anyway, so that was 2-1, and obviously game on at that point because obviously Hibs tails were up because obviously they started the half a bit better. You're starting to worry that maybe we were lacking a wee bit of energy because obviously midweek European exertions. This was the next incident. So this was Gav's got Rocky versus Clubber Yang, but it was obviously a bit of a wrestling reference there. It was quite funny. Bring it up. No, basically to answer the question, because we're only 50 minutes left, this was deemed offside. So that kind of took the pressure off Nick Walsh in this situation because I think I thought Yang just ever so slightly got there before
He did.
Bashiri did. But the fact that somebody was offside obviously takes the decision away, and they don't have to worry about it. Because otherwise,
yeah. So I wasn't aware that there was an offside given there. I'd missed that entirely, and so I had the same concerns. Like this, Yang definitely gets there first, and then Bashiri hits him in the face. So if that contact was at ankle level, you would say, well, that's a penalty. Like he's got there a smidge late, and he's hit the player and not the ball. And so why does it make any difference if it's heads? Which I don't think it does, or it should. So yeah, if it was an offside, that's probably what took a pretty difficult and controversial decision away and off the table. But yeah, I think otherwise it would definitely be a case to answer.
And then we've got. Well, this was a Schmeichel save. So this was 84 minutes. So this was the first of 2 saves in 2 minutes. Schmeichel obviously not really called to do all that much, really, as much as Hibs sort of, you felt like they carried a bit of threat. It wasn't like they were absolutely. It wasn't really a game of lots of chances. Like it was. I sort of drifted in and out of the game, to be honest. Like it was good enough to watch, but like there's passages of play where Celtic just couldn't seem to string more than a few passes together, and the ball would break down and come back. But then statistically, we still were sitting on like 74% possession in the second half, and you just sort of saying, "How?" Like, it was weird parts of the game. I mean, the goals were well taken, and obviously should have been 3. But again, it could have been 3-2 because I mean, if Boyle scores that one in the first half and Srirachi scores his, it could have been 3-2, and you would have went, well, that's fair because they were all really sort of gilt-edged chances. But this one, Michael managed to sort of get to the post and just turn it to palm it around.
It was given offside in the end as well, though.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, he didn't know that. That's right.
Yeah, he didn't know that. It was a great save. No, it's a great save. He didn't know, but yeah, the flag went up afterwards, and not for Bowie, who was the player that headed it. I think. Yuan, I think, is it Yuan? He'd come off the bench. Yeah. He was just in front of Bowie, but he was right in the same spot. So the cross was dropping right in the same area. So it was the right decision, and he was probably a shoulder or so, half a body offside. So yeah, it was given off in the end. But yeah, Schmeichel not to know. It's a really good save.
And then this is their other chance 2 minutes later. So Bowie manages to get the ball in, and this is Chris Cadden. He's got the whole goal to aim. Well, I'll say he's got the whole goal to aim at. There's a couple of Celtic defenders there, but he's managed to get the shot away. But thankfully, Schmeichel gets the size. 15.
He scuffed it though, didn't he? So he sort of hits it into the ground, and then it's sort of bouncing up. And Schmeichel does well again. Like it's not got that much power because he sort of choked it into the ground, but. Yeah, he's still done well. He's got something on it, which he was a bit concerned, I think, because it looped up and he got up and he was running back, and there was a defender under the bar as well, but it just dropped the right side of the post as far as we were concerned. But yeah, Chris Cadden will be disappointed. It's a poor contact. Yeah, you're right. The goalie and 2 defenders are taking up a lot of that space, but he's probably a bit like the Srirachi one. He's got the opportunity to go near post high into the net, and if he hits it firm and high, he can't miss really. So yeah. That's not dissimilar to the Srirachi chance, probably arguably a better chance, more central. But yeah, they should both probably score in that position. And yeah, Schmeichel earning his wages.
And I have to say, at that point, we kind of rode the game out really well. Like we sort of controlled it after that. I didn't really feel like, the guys that made it gave that stupid foul away right near the end, and like they had one more sort of opportunity to lump a ball in. But I have to say, Stales and Trusty, very, very solid. Defensively.
Yeah, no, really their only like apart from they got down the wings and try to get some dangerous balls across the goal a few times, but beyond that, their only other tactic was to launch it in, which every team seems to want to do, like long throws, free kicks, corners. But I thought we dealt with it pretty well. There was a couple of hairy moments as you would expect if when you're getting that kind of onslaught, but yeah, I thought it's similar to Thursday, like they came at us for a bit and we weathered a bit of a storm in middle of the second half against Feyenoord and defended well and saw the game out, and we did the same again yesterday. So yeah, excellent.
Oh, we're very efficient tonight. We're hitting 50 minutes and James done. We may as well do man of the matches, Paul. We'll get that out of the way. Diza Maeda was the official man of the match. It was dead funny because they had Cal McGregor and Liam Stales doing the post-match interview, and then they go, "Oh, you can present that to Liam Stales." And I know, hang on a minute, Diza Maeda, and then like Cal McGregor's going, "You haven't given away a penalty. Like, how the fuck do you be man of the match?" It was pretty funny. Funny end to the interview. But yeah, I somebody said, my old man said there, like, you know, Liam still saying it, he thought it was a penalty. It was actually a very candid interview, the both of them, and yeah, just very honest. And I think, you know, as football players, professionals, if you want to succeed at the highest level, you've got to be able to cut through the bullshit. And I kind of feel that that's probably part of the problem for our rivals across the other side of Glasgow, is that, you know, they seem to buy into all sorts of rhetoric and look for excuses every chance to get, where we're a bit more, you know, honest with ourselves and dust ourselves off and go again. I think that's part of the reason why we've had so much success. You've got that winning culture, but you have to, you know, examine and admit when you're wrong, you haven't quite got it right, and put it to bed and move on. So yeah, that's a lot to like. Who's your man of the match, Paul? Are you going to go with the sponsors or someone else?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna ultimately. I thought he had a very good game overall. He was involved at both ends of the pitch, but his bravery took the 3 points home. So I will be giving the man of the match to Arne Engels.
That's fair. I'll go with you on that. I think some honourable mentions. Obviously, Diza Maeda. I thought Riho Etati had a good game as well, and I thought Srirachi for his 60-odd minutes, I thought he looked pretty good as well. So good to have him back. And another
Trusty and Skills probably obviously Skills gave away the penalty, and he had a couple of slack passes. Trusty had, I think, one slip at an inopportune moment that nearly crafted a chance for them. But other than that, he was solid all day long. But
and I thought Donovan had a solid first half as well. So I think it was a team performance. I mean, I thought there wasn't anybody really out there just towing a
McGregor played well again. The midfield three to back that up, and they were all great in Rotterdam, and they all stood up again and had great performances given the exertions of just a few days earlier. So what I did like is this. So this both happened against Feyenoord and again yesterday. They were at key points in the match. Engels was almost right next to Callum McGregor, which I've been sort of shouting for weeks or probably months. Because I just think he sees the game better from deeper. He's got the opportunity to use his engine better. His range of passing is better utilized from a deeper position. And obviously, but also give him the license to get forward and get in the box, which he did to score the winner. So, yeah, I think Engels is starting to come onto a game. Who'd have thought it? Minutes on the pitch and a bit of confidence, and lo and behold, looks like a different player. Imagine. So yeah, great news that he's coming on a game. Riho Etati deserves a bit of a mention as well, because he has been extremely inconsistent for probably 2 seasons, and he was excellent in Rotterdam, and again, very like most of our dangerous attacking intent came through him. And again, he was dropping deep and picking up the ball and moving it swiftly, involved in both goals. So yeah, that's 2 performances in a row from that midfield trio. 3 for Callum McGregor, given the screamer to seal the points against St Mirren, and that's 3 really tough away games in the space of a week, and 3 wins. So yeah, solid green shoots of recovery. A good win against Dundee.
Both our closest teams have drawn as well. So you know you're actually making up ground on Hearts, and you're opening up the gap against Rangers. So
and we've talked a lot, or Celtic fans in general have talked a lot about how tough this December period is going to be. You look at Hearts and Rangers' fixtures; their domestic fixtures are harder than ours. So Rangers play a lot of away games in this next run, including European matches. Hearts are playing some of their toughest fixtures of the season so far, in terms of where they've got to go and who they're up against at home. So yeah, there'll be more drop points ahead, and hopefully the new manager is in soon, and And if anything, maybe we get a second new manager bounce in the space of a month and a half. So that would be a bonus too. But yeah, I think cautious optimism about how things are looking from here.
Fantastic. People just start saying hail, hail, just joining the stream now. Obviously, you can catch up and watch it on delay. And please give the episode a like. It helps other like-minded Celts find us online. Paul, have you got any recommendations for us this week? Please.
I do. I've got an album recommendation, as I usually have. Stumbled along this lot book from I think a post by big fan of Elbow, I think, as everyone knows. And yeah, either Guy Garvey or Elbow did a social media post saying that one of the band had been the producer on this debut album. So the band are called Mini Series. The album is called Pilot, like what they did there. And it's a bit of there's a band called Longview, Manchester band from way back. 2 or 3 of their members have got together with Angie Gannon, who was in the Magic Numbers. And yeah, it's a sort of, they're probably calling it cosmic pop or something. It's a bit shoegaze. There's a bit of harmonies. The mate, like there's 2 or 3 vocalists. One of the vocalists sounds really like Tim from the Charlatans. So it's kind of got a bit of that kind of general, I guess, a kind of the kind of vibe from the early 90s Manchester scene. There's a bit of that creeping into it. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Mini Series is the band. The album's called Pilot. Check it out.
Fantastic. I was sitting up earlier this morning watching the Qatar Grand Prix. So Oscar Piastri, I think, has done his dash this season, the Aussie driver. So I think it's probably right between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. But yeah, McLaren doing everything they can to try and get their boy Lando home. But yeah, frustrating obviously shouting on the Aussie on this side of the world. But still mathematically possible next weekend. But I think Lando's car would have to go on fire or something for Oscar to win it. But we'll see what happens. But that was the sum total of my TV time in the last week. So hopefully I'll have some recommendations soon. But I've been a bit bereft of recommendations recently. I've been watching all these DIY grand designs and all these sorts of things on TV, which probably bore the life out of everybody. But yeah, just comfort television. Sometimes you just need that little relaxing thing to watch where you don't have to really put too much brain power into it.
Well, Oscar's young enough that there'll be other opportunities for him. You think?
You're right at the car, though. That's the thing. So, yes, I agree. He is young and he's got the skill, but yeah, you don't necessarily get a world championship car every year. Definitely. So it's true. And there's a change in regulations next year, so it will reset itself. So we'll see what happens. Anyway,
I can do one more recommendation on TV since you've not got anything. So I can.
Thanks, Paul.
Can fill the gap for the last 90 seconds of the show. Stranger Things is back. So for anyone
never watched it.
I never watched it until a few months ago I'll put this out on public viewing. I'm not a big fan of horror as a genre. In fact, I can't stand it. I don't see the enjoyment in like being scared, jump scared in my front room or in the cinema. So I've never really liked it, and I thought it was quite in that vein. Then a mate of mine told me that he showed it to his 8 or 9 or 10-year-old, and I was like, well, 1, is that responsible? Possibly not. 2, if an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old has watched it and is not like traumatized for life, I could probably muster the opportunity to go watch it. So yeah, a few months ago we started watching it from the beginning. The 80s nostalgia and vibe was obviously heavily attractive to a lot of people, and yeah, it reminds me of my childhood. So yeah, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and we sort of worked our way through the previous 4 seasons sort of sporadically here and there, and then yeah, just managed to finish off season 4 last week, or the weekend passed, so that we were ready for the launch, which I think was Thursday last week. So yeah, they dropped 4 episodes now. I think there's maybe 3 more on Christmas Day, and then the last one's on New Year's Day. So
they're going to get their subs somehow. So
yeah, so the first 4 are out. Varying lengths. Season 4 was weird. They were all like movie length. Individual episodes were movie length, which was a bit annoying because I had to split them up because I wasn't watching a whole movie every night. But yeah, they're mostly about an hour-ish. But the 4th episode is about an hour and a half, so it is more movie length again. But yeah, really good. Just good fun viewing, good cast, great ensemble. Although it's quite hard to watch David Harbour without thinking about butt plugs and Madeline and all the rest of it, if you know your Lily Allen. Yeah, so that's my wife boos him when he comes on screen. It's like, it's not David Harbour, that's the character. He's the actor, you've got to think about the character. Anyway, I've rambled on. Stranger Things season 5 is out, and if you enjoyed that so far, you will, I assume you will thoroughly enjoy what's coming.
David Harbour giving Southern River Colony vibes. That's us for this week. We'll be back next week as we cover Celtic versus Hearts, top of the table clash. If my maths is not wrong, and we obviously get a win during the week, a win would take us back on top of the league.
Yeah. As long as we win against Dundee, any kind of win against Hearts puts us a point clear.
Yep.
Or
so
more,
that's the goal. Yeah. So that's the goal. We might have a new manager by the end of the week. Who knows? At Celtic, we could be still with Martin O'Neill next week. We're up for it. It's 11 p.m. kickoff in Perth time on Sunday night, so that's going to be joyous. But you've got to earn the victories, and we will be watching that one, and we'll be back next Monday night, 8 p.m. Western Australian Standard Time, which is 12 noon. Yes, lunchtime in Scotland. So we'll be back then. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for everyone in the comment section. It was a good chat. And all I have to say, Paul, is hail, hail.
Hail, hail.